Good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Wisdom Onizi. First, the headlines. Tinubu meets Chinese premier, pushes for mutually beneficial China-Africa tie. Egypt's president in Turkey as relations between two countries thaw. Migrant boat capsize off Libya. 1 dead, 22 missing. And on sport. On 2025 AFCON, Osimhen leaves for Super Eagles camp after Galatasaray unveiling. Now the news in details. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has said Africa holds vast opportunities for investment, growth, and development with its vibrant population, productive economy, and natural resources. Speaking at a bilateral meeting on Wednesday in Beijing, China, with Chinese Premier Li Qiang, the presidency in a statement commended the role of the Forum on China-Africa cooperation in advancing the partnership between Africa and China for mutual development and prosperity. The president said the African spirit for FOCAC is based on mutual respect and partnership that promotes development, happiness, peace, and stability for the people. Tinubu also called for strategic focus on areas of collaboration that will ensure the relationship remains mutually beneficial. Away from that, the Vice President of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, has called for a formidable alliance among key government players at all levels and development partners to lift Nigerians out of poverty and enhance the quality of life for all citizens. He said there will be no change if all those involved in business of governance do not align with one another to create an environment where every Nigerian has the opportunity to thrive. Shettima, who spoke on Wednesday during the 144th meeting of the National Economic Council held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, in a statement by his spokesperson Stanley Nkwocha, suggested ways to address the immediate needs of the citizens, including building sustainable systems that empowers them to become self-reliant and prosperous. However, he acknowledged that even though the problems inherited by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration cannot be solved overnight, despite the long-term solution in progress, Nigerians urgently need quick, impactful measures. We also have you know that Microsoft founder and philanthropist Bill Gates on Wednesday in Abuja revealed plans to inject at least $2.8 billion into the country's healthcare, nutrition, and agricultural sector to reflect it. While speaking on his intentions at the National Economic Council (NEC) meeting presided over by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa, Gates emphasized the critical need to invest in Nigeria's greatest resource, its people, while addressing the economic challenges the country faces. His remarks to the NEC highlighted both the challenges and opportunities facing Nigeria, especially in the wake of economic stagnation and rising national debt. Now, when we return, news from all the parts of West Africa. Stay with us.
This is Hillstv. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hillstv, Polka.
Welcome back. Now news from other parts of West Africa. Guinea's Ministry of Post, Telecommunication and the digital economic reportedly plans to interconnect the country's national fiber optic network with the network of Côte d'Ivoire in yet another move to boost its international capacity. No other details were given, including a timeline, but the Côte d'Ivoire interconnection plan was listed alongside PTN's current move to finalize a framework agreement for a similar interconnection plan with Sierra Leone. However, the deals with Sierra Leone and Mali don't add much redundancy to Guinea's international connectivity, as Sierra Leone only has one international subsea link, while landlocked Mali has none. Guinea's MTN has said that Guinea's interconnection with neighboring countries will improve internet access, strengthen network coverage, and reduce communication costs. Now we move to other parts of Africa. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. Now news from other parts of Africa. Chinese leader Xi Jinping told African leaders on Thursday that he would deepen cooperation in infrastructure and trade with the continent as he addressed Beijing's biggest summit in years. More than 50 African leaders and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres are attending this week's China-Africa Forum. African leaders already secured this week a plethora of pledges for deeper cooperation in infrastructure, agriculture, mining, trade, and energy. Addressing the leaders at the forum's opening ceremony in Beijing on inauguration, Great Hall of the People on Thursday morning, Xi held ties with the continent as in their best period in history, noting that China is ready to deepen cooperation with African countries in industry, agriculture, infrastructure, trade, and investment. China, the world's #2 economy, is Africa's largest trading partner and has sought to tap the continent's vast troves of natural resources, including copper, gold, lithium, and rare earth minerals. It has also furnished African countries with billions in loans that have helped build much-needed infrastructure, but sometimes stoked controversy by saddling government with huge debts. Away from that, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi began an official visit to Turkey Wednesday for meetings with his Turkish counterpart, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It is the first official visit to Turkey by the Egyptian president in 12 years and comes amid a warning of relations between the two regional powers. In February, Erdogan made his first visit to Egypt in more than a decade after the two countries agreed to mend ties and reappointed ambassadors. Ties between Cairo and Ankara collapsed in 2013 after el-Sisi, who was then army chief, led the oustal of democratically elected Islamist President Mohamed Morsi, amidst mass protest against his divisive first year in power. Morsi was a top figure in the Muslim Brotherhood organization, which has long been backed by Turkey. In this second summit between el-Sisi and Erdogan, since they began mending relations, they will reportedly sign around 20 agreements. These are expected to focus on boosting cooperation on energy, defense, tourism, health, culture, and education. Up next is business. Stay with us. Welcome back now to business news. More frustration for Nigerians as they face a dual crisis of chronic fuel shortages and a huge increase in petrol prices. Despite being one of the world's top oil producers, Nigeria relies on petroleum products imported by the state-run oil company as it has little working refining capacity. Petrol stations owned by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and NPC have the cheapest fuel on sale in comparison to private operators. The oil company blames its difficulty in getting fuel on what it described as financial strain, together with rising global prices. Its statement comes after the NNPC declared a record profit of about $2 billion last month and an initial public denial of its huge debt burden. As a result, the weeks of fuel scarcities are compounded the cost of living crisis, with people already struggling after government reforms to end the fuel subsidy and free its currency resulted in a spike in inflation. Away from that, the latest Purchasing Managers Index released by the Central Bank of Nigeria has indicated that economic activities expanded in August for the first time in 13 months. The PMI published by the CBN on Wednesday showed that the composite PMI for August 2024 stood at 50.2 index points, indicating an expansion in economic activities after 13 consecutive months of contraction. I beg your pardon. This sectoral breakdown shows that the services sector recorded expansion for the third consecutive month, while the agricultural sector registered expansion for the fifth month. The industry sector, though contracted, registered a slower contraction when compared to the level recorded in previous months. Among the 36 subsectors reviewed across the industry, services, and agriculture sectors, 17 subsectors reported growth, with primary metal reporting the highest growth during the review month, while the remaining 19 subsectors registered a decline, with forestry reporting the highest decline. We also have you know that African nations are losing up to 5% of the GDP every year as they bear a heavier burden than the rest of the world from climate change, a new report said after one of the continent's hottest years on record. The World Meteorological Organization said many African nations are spending up to 9% of their budget for climate adaptation policies. Over the past 60 years, Africa has observed a warming trend that has become more rapid than the global average, said WMO. Secretary General Celestin Saulo warned that it is affecting everything from food security to public health to peace. Africa is responsible for less than 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but it is the most vulnerable region to extreme weather events, including drought, floods, heat waves, WMO said. The new report focuses on 2023, one of the African's three hottest years on record. It urged African governments to invest in early warning systems as well as meteorological services if adequate measures are not put in place. Up to 180 million Africans will be exposed to drought, floods, and extreme heat by 2030, the report warned. In sub-Saharan Africa, the cost of adapting to extreme weather could be 30 to 50 billion US dollars per year over the next decade, the report estimated. The efforts of climate change have been harrowing. Between September and October 2023, approximately 300,000 people across West Africa were affected by floods, the report said. Zambia experienced the worst drought in 40 years, affecting nearly 6 million people. Still to come is sport. Stay with us. Welcome back now to Sport News. Victor Osimhen on Wednesday night boarded a private jet bound for Nigeria after he was formally unveiled as a Galatasaray player. The 25-year-old has agreed a season-long loan move from Napoli with the Turkish agent. With his future looking to build in limbo at the Serie A side, Osimhen was able to secure the temporary move. Having wrapped up the transfer, Osimhen is now heading to the Akwa Ibom state capital, to meet up with his Super Eagles teammates. Osimhen is expected to be the last player that will arrive in camp. The three-time African champions are scheduled to play Benin Republic this Saturday in a 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. 3 days later, Nigeria will travel to face Rwanda. Away from that, Nigerians Falconet lost 3-1 to Germany in their second group game at the 2024 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup on Thursday morning. The Falconets have now failed to beat the European in 6 meetings at this level. The Germans were in ascendancy in the opening minutes and made the pressure count with Alara Scherter, putting them ahead in the 17th minute. Nigeria recovered from the early setback but failed to put the ball into the net in the first half despite creating a number of chances. Chris Danjuma's side fought back 5 minutes after the break, with Chiamaka Okwuchukwu scoring the equalizer. Germany, however, regained the lead 11 minutes later through Sofiel Zadebel. Substitute Sarah Edes added the third in stoppage time. The Falconets will take on Venezuela in their last group game at Estadio Olímpico Pascual Guerrero Cali on Sunday. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. We move to the rest of the news after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. Libyan authorities said a boat carrying migrants capsized off the Libyan coast, leaving 1 person dead and 22 missing. The latest sea tragedy involving migrants seeking a better life in Europe. The Coast Guard in the eastern Libyan town of Tobruk said the boat was carrying 32 migrants and that 9 had been rescued. Survivors have been taken to a port in Tobruk, the Coast Guard said. The boat sailed from the Bab al-Zaitun area, 15 kilometers, that is 9 miles east of the Tobruk, according to the Auburn, a local aid group. The boat capsized after its engine suffered a mechanical failure, said the group, which supports migrants in eastern Libya. The group said the migrants on the boat were from Egypt and Syria, and that the 9 survivors were taken to a hospital. And that's Africa Today, but before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that Nigerian President Tinubu meets Chinese Premier, pushes for mutually beneficial China-Africa tie. We brought to you that Egypt President in Turkey as relation between 2 countries thaw. We also informed you that migrant boat capsized off Libya, 1 dead, 22 missing. And on spot, we informed you that Osimhen leaves for Super Eagles camp after Galatasaray unveiling. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hillstv Abuja, Instagram at Hillstv Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hillstv. I am Wisdom Onisi. Thanks for watching.